Hello and welcome to another episode of Sports and Songs podcast. This is season 6, episode number 7. Tonight's the sports edition, Andy. Sports edition. How are you?
I'm good. Got to start Christmas shopping tomorrow, I think. So.
Well, today's December 23rd, so your
Tomorrow.
time is running thin, Andy.
I keep all my gifts hidden at Target on the shelves.
Perfect. And then you go and get them all taken care of. Well,
Pick it up.
happy holidays. Merry Christmas to everyone. This is our sports edition. Lots going on with football, college. We got the new playoff format. It's hot stove for baseball.
Very high, yes.
Lots going on. Let's start off with a trivia question, Andy.
Yes, fire away.
Trivia question. Here it is. Who is the New York Yankees all-time leader in stolen bases? New York Yankees all-time
A long history there.
stolen base leader. We'll get to the answer at the end of the episode. But who is the Yankees all-time leader in stolen bases? Andy, what have we got?
Well, we got some sad news to start with. Rickey Henry Henderson passed away. The man of steel, S-T-A-L, steel. Passed away of pneumonia very unexpectedly this last week. One stat here just to show you young kids to compare. Ellie Day at Little Cruz in 24 stole 67 bases. It was caught 16 times at the age of 22. Rickey Henderson led the major leagues in 98 with 66 steals and caught 13 times. He was 39.
Yeah,
Some of his numbers, he played 25 years. He had 3,020 hits. He joined the 3,000 hit club, and he was a leadoff hitter. Just look at some of his numbers. I think all-time leader for runs scored. Obviously, all-time leader for stolen bases. His on-base percentage numbers were just unreal. I was reading beforehand. He had, if you take out intentional walks, he's the all-time walk leader because Barry Bonds had so many intentional ones in there. Rickey was only intentionally walked like 13 times in 25 years.
very good eye at the plate. Walked a lot of times. Boy, did he get on base a lot.
What did they say? He was on base 66% of the time or some goofy number like that. Some unreal numbers he just had. I was watching a thing. They're showing all these videos now of him. A few years ago, he was on Baseball Network, MLB Network. He was talking to Harold Reynolds, who's the only guy besides Rickey to lead a year in stolen bases in the 80s. Harold Reynolds.
Okay.
And another player on there, they're asking Rickey, they go, what do you look for when you want to steal, when you're on second base, you want to steal third, what do you look at? And Rickey goes, if it's a right-handed pitcher, I'll watch his elbow. Because once he starts moving, he can't. And both guys go, I've never heard that. I've never thought of that. Watching the guy's elbow, because once he moves that arm a certain way, you got to,
Interesting. I've never
easier
heard
to
that
focus
either.
on the elbow than the hand or the shoulder or the feet or, they can play tricks on you. The elbow's the elbow. A couple Rickeyisms I heard this week. Rickey being Rickey, we've always talked about that.
Some of the best.
He's the Padres. Tony Gwynn's told the story a few times, and some other guys have too. They're getting on the bus, and they go, Rickey, you get to pick the first seat. You have tenure. Rickey goes, tenure? I've been playing 16, 17 years.
Yes.
Rickey, they said, was a modern-day Yogi Berra for that. And I don't think Rickey didn't say this stuff intentionally. I think that's just the way his mind went.
Yeah, even the John 3:16, the Bible.
Yeah. Hey, what do you think about John 3:16? He goes, I don't care about no John hitting 3:16. Rickey hitting 3:30. He was he was a character before characters. He didn't know he was a character, So,
and once again, the Twins fans here, we worry about Byron Buxton playing center field, leading off, stealing bases. Is he going to get hurt? Is he not? This is Rickey Henderson, 25 years stealing bases, playing outfield, head first, stealing bases, singles hitter, diving catches in the outfield. It's the guy never got hurt or something, or he healed correctly. I don't know.
He started the whole swipe catch thing. He started the whole bat flip thing, spin it. He was cocky, but he backed it up.
Fun to watch.
Here's our 12-team college playoff bracket. Here's the updated bracket. Dan currently has 3 points. I have 2. But of the teams left, I have a chance of getting 3 teams in the Final Four. Dan only has a possibility of 2.
So there was essentially no upsets that first round. It was kind of blowouts.
Cut and dry, yep.
It was still fun to watch. I think watching some of the crowd and on site on those campuses was very interesting to watch, I thought.
Yep.
But the games themselves, it left you feeling, you know what, we really just should have a top 8. That it just seemed too big of a gap.
Yeah, but now next year maybe they're all 4 upsets. You never know. I think the fact that our home fields had a lot to do with it for a playoff atmosphere. But we'll see. But there we are. We're going cut and dry. Here's a stat talking about it. 2001 Miami Hurricanes would have gone 8-4 if the offense never scored a touchdown. FYI, the offense scored 50 touchdowns.
Oh my God.
So let's put those in today's numbers. Okay, first of all, 8-4 without an offensive touchdown. Just wrap your brain around that, first of all. That, my friends, is where the saying defense wins championships comes from.
Yes. I mean, unbelievable.
Jeez. All right. This stat kind of blew me away, too. Excuse me. Penn State women win the volleyball national championship. First time a D1 female head coach has won a national championship. All the years of women's volleyball, that kind of blew me away. There wasn't, and I hate to say a blind squirrel with an acorn. That sounds wrong, but how someone didn't have a female head coach to win it. That blew me away when I heard that. So congratulations on to Penn State. And also Gophers coach, she is moving on elsewhere to coach. So our team, who's always kind of been in the playoffs, are looking for a new coach. Cam Miller doesn't hold back his feelings about the Jackrabbits. Bison quarterback. I hate him. I hate the Jackrabbits. Well said, young man. Well said.
Well, the last 2 years when they won those back-to-back titles, they were tough.
But the Bison pulled it off. I was doing some errands. I had to do some work on Saturday. I was listening on the way back. I mean, the game was 7-0, 7-7, 14-7, 14-14. Back and forth. I kind of heard the Jackrabbits wheels come off on the way home, but I had to listen to it on the Jackrabbits radio network. So I was listening to their announcers, kind of having a hissy fit on the way there, and I'm cheering and honking the horn of my car and getting dirty looks, and I didn't care. But one thing I found out I finally did this year, on the Bison Facebook page, you can listen to the game and they have a camera. You see the radio announcers, but that's all you see is just the radio announcers. I now have a new way of wanting to watch the Bison games next year.
Okay.
They're well worth the watch. We talked about it off air last week. Breaking news here. We will be doing a live watch along for the championship game that Monday night. Montana State against North Dakota State in Frisco.
Now that should
last game in Frisco for a couple of years.
That should be a great game.
And now, okay, I kind of call a little BS on this thing I saw on the internet. Don't wear these colors because it's the most hated team in that state. Look at North Dakota. I'm not saying they can't hate the Packers, but that's the same colors as the Bison. So someone really didn't do a lot of good research here.
Yeah, I'm not sure what they would have done there anyway. Not saying
the Packers can't be the most hated team, but you could wear those colors. If you just have to have a green and gold shirts, that is just can't wear the Packer logo maybe, but just saying, I thought it was kind of a stupid thing. And the transfer portal is going crazy. But here's when it kind of goes backwards. Kid from USC is going to Montana. So the Grizz, he's going down to the next level, but he wants to start. The Grizz were a fairly decent team this year. We'll see how it works. So
I like to see that. It's not always going to the bigger school, to the bigger, more
he's going where he wants to play.
Big name. So, he wants to win a title, baby.
And he wants to play every day. So that's good for him. All right. 1975 Major League Baseball complete games. Catfish Hunter led the league with 30. In the 26 complete games of all of Major League Baseball in 2024. So the entire league had 26 games last year. Catfish Hunter at 75 had 30 of them. Jim Palmer at 25 was just one behind last year's league total. So pitchers just don't do what they do anymore.
It's all about the pitch count and whatnot.
Yeah, one more little tidbit here for you. Stay tuned tomorrow afternoon. Danta will have his naughty and nice list. Based just locally here, of course. Or is it? Find out if you made the list either way. I know the naughty list is kind of written in pencil. Checks can be sent in to make changes, but just, wait to check out the cash, of course. There we go. Kind of short and sweet. A lot of free agent signings in baseball. Yankees signed Paul Goldschmidt. Other guys are getting signed. Pete Alonso still sits out there. Kind of looking between the Mets and the Mariners right now where Pete Alonso goes. Leaning towards the Mets side. That's just not me saying that. That's other sources close to this reporter.
Yes.
Are saying it's leaning that way. Could the Mariners up and dump more money on it? Sure. And if they do, God bless them. Go ahead. We'll see. But that's where that's lining up right now. NHL's getting going now. Hockey Day in Minnesota's coming up pretty soon out at Shakopee. We'll have some on that next week. And that's what I got, man.
Well, I've got a couple things to fill in for football here. So D3, college football D3 bracket. Guess who's in it? It's going to be the title game is set. It's North Central. Now, this is the national title.
Yep.
This is a fifth straight trip to the title game. I'll repeat that. Fifth straight trip.
Wow.
And they won it twice. So it's not a given that this is not a dynasty, but they are a good team. They will play January 5th, 2025 against Mount Union. Now, Mount Union, Andy, has been there 22 times.
Yeah, they're not.
Since 1993, 22 times to the finals, including 13 titles, 9 times runner-up. This is the old school. Mountain Union has been there all the time to the new dynasty versus the old dynasty. This should be fun. Both teams are undefeated. North Central against Mountain Union, and that's coming up January 5th. And once again, it's D3. It's the lowest of the colleges,
and if it's not one of those two, it's usually Whitewater in there.
Yes, Wisconsin Whitewater seems to be in there a lot. That should be a fun game to watch if you get it on. Try to get that. Even if you don't watch it, it's something good to have on in the background because of the talent of these guys.
Yeah.
Now, D3 title game was played. Ferris State. Hats off to Ferris State winning their third title in the last 4 years. And then FCS, we talked about already, January 6th, NDSU versus Montana State. No three-peat for SDSU. They are out. And so college football playoffs are down to the Elite Eight, final 8 teams left. And as far as bowl games, if you're keeping score for bowl games, the regular bowl games, 8 games are complete already. 8 bowl games are under the are completed. And so what is there, roughly 40 in a season? So they'll really be kicking off here once the holidays wrap up on Christmas. They're going to start going on. Speaking of Christmas, the high school Christmas wrestling tournament down in Rochester took place. If you follow our page, you see a lot of Watertown Mayor promotion. They are, I think, 4th ranked in the state right now. They had 3 winners. Both the Fredericks twins won the championship, and also Mr. Bryce Burkett. So 3 champions out of 13 weight classes, and your team has 3 champions.
And the Lyles guys were wrestling up a class too, I believe, right?
Well, up a weight, you mean, or what?
No, I mean like up 3A and 2A and stuff like that. It was all different classes.
Oh, yes. Yep. So the difference there is that there's no classes at the Christmas tournament. You're all bundled in together, whether you're going up against the top guys in class A, AA, AAA. Watertown Mayor's AA. But yes, there's no classes here, so you're wrestling the big dogs, the small towns, the big cities. This throws class out the window. It just says, hey, who's the best in the state at this weight level? And that's why it's what these kids, I think, really fight for. Yes, it's great to have a state championship ring, if you will, at the end of the year, but that's just the best in your class. This is the best in the weight. So it's fun to watch. Also, I've been tracking a little former New Prague wrestlers, Joey Novak, if you're following along, as a sophomore at Wyoming. That's a D1 school, Wyoming Cowboys. He's wrestling at 197, I think, as a sophomore. Coy Biskins is a redshirt freshman. So last year, he went to a lot of the open tournaments, the invites, and wrestled some of the weekend events, but wasn't on the front lines of wrestling in the duels. So they redshirted him. He's now in the starting lineup this year. And so he's a second year, but he's a redshirt freshman, still has 3 more years of eligibility after this. Both these guys are fun to watch. They're in the starting lineups on big universities. NC State for Coy Biskins is ranked, I think they're 4th in the nation, 4th or 6th in the nation. Wyoming isn't ranked, but that's still, these are some big schools with big wrestling programs, and it's fun to watch.
Wyoming may not be ranked, but they play the bigger schools that are. So
yes, and Penn State, is the best in the nation, so that's all part of Big Ten. The Gophers are in this whole mess, always doing well. Big Ten's always got strong wrestling, but NC State coming out of nowhere last few years, doing really well. It's fun to watch. Coy Biskins, that's Koy, wrestling for them as a actual freshman this year. So fun to watch. Once again, some good talent here coming from Minnesota. We've got a trivia answer, Andy.
Yes.
Here's the trivia question. Who has the all-time leader in steals for the New York Yankees? All-time leader of steals. Who's your guess, Andy?
Okay, I'm going to consider you're going the WCCO route and going a local boy. And I know Winfield played a few years there, so I'm going to say Dave Winfield.
Ooh, the answer is the late Rickey Henderson.
Played there for 5 seasons.
Henderson he was only there for 5 years.
Yeah.
And everyone remembers him, with the Oakland A's. But 5 years was all he was with the Yankees. And his stolen bases each of those years was so high. You add those up, that career total, no one has more stolen bases than Rickey Henderson, the great Rickey. And, Andy, I'm glad I shook his hand this last April at that event, because the man passed away now. And so I got a picture taken with Mr. Rickey, got his autograph. Rickey Henderson, one of my favorites of all time.
And here's the sad thing to think about with Rickey Henderson. Passed away last week. Christmas Day was going to be his birthday. Kirby Puckett passed away a week before his birthday. A lot of I just look up other athletes, just how many people were passing away so close to their birthday. It's got to be a tough one for the family, but thoughts and prayers to the Henderson family on this. Yes.
Rickey, one of the greatest. He will be missed, obviously, but we will be back next week for another sports edition here at the end for our last episode of the calendar year.
Calendar year.
All right. Have a good one. See ya.
See ya.